Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Minor Obsession. This is our pregame for the big game. 49ers coming off a big win last Saturday, and now we've got another one at home. This is our second to last home game, and we need a W. 49ers versus Middle Tennessee, and we're actually, I guess we're not favored, but
yeah, we're not.
But
I
it's
like
close. That. Yeah. 3-point spread. Middle Tennessee is the favorite, but we are at home. So if you're really a gambler out there, it's kind of a 6-point spread. Either way, big game for us. The Saturday after Halloween, trying to get closer to 500 and make our bowl chances more likely. Niners are 3-5 right now. Need this win to go to 4-5. A loss would make it pretty difficult to go to a bowl. Sean, you were right last week. I was wrong. This week, I want to keep motivating the guys. But I can't do it. I think the 49ers are going to get the W.
We're just jumping all the way to pregame predictions, huh? I like that.
I'm so excited, and I want to get that out in the universe before you do.
Yeah, you've got enough hate mail in your mailbox over the past week that you're going to just hop back on the bandwagon now that we got a win.
I feel the momentum. Middle Tennessee is not so great. They are pretty much the same team as us from a record standpoint, both at home and just in general. The conference, they're 500, and we're trying to get back to that.
And fairly similar teams in general, too, in terms of style of play. You know, we broke down North Texas, and somebody chose to disregard the statistics and how teams play in their predictions. Other people didn't, and were spot on in terms of what happened. This week, similar story. You got Middle Tennessee, who's not got quite the prolific offense we have. They're only averaging 25 points a game to our 31. But points allowed kind of makes up that difference. So they're allowing 5 more points per game than they're scoring. We're allowing 8 more points per game than we're scoring. Either way, to me, that says, hey, this is another potentially low defense, high scoring game headed for the books with a really nice setup where the offense for Charlotte has got to be fairly confident in their capabilities last week after they went just back to back with North Texas, even being down 2 scores most of the game, not giving up, continuing to drive down the field and put up touchdowns. So anytime you're coming off a win like that where it shows things that you may not have been able to do in the past but are now much more confident in doing, I feel like that gives you a leg up. And so I'm going to agree with you. I think Charlotte gets the win again here. Tend to be a homer, but they won last time, so not a crazy pick with them winning this time too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pumped about the game. Other gambling line is the over-under is pretty high for this one. 65. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like. I'm gonna go reverse here from last week, even though I think it's gonna be a heavier offensive game and more relying on the offense. I'm gonna think the under is gonna occur here more from a. I'm putting the score in my head close to like a 30-24 type score where it's really still offense oriented, but they're scoring 25 points. I think we can hold them to something like that. Definitely seen some big strides. Getting to the quarterback will be huge to slow that offensive down. And so I think it's going to end up being close to 65, but on the underside, like in the 60s area.
Interesting. I tend to want to think the same, but I also want to go against you. And every time I've taken the under, just about, it has not worked. The Niners have covered every over except, I believe, one that looked promising, and then it just kind of fell apart. I like the over at home. I think at home we like to put up points, and we like to let other teams put up points. I see a 49 to 35, 49er W. Lots of points.
All right. I like that. My fear, again, would be on the other side. Granted, Middle Tennessee has had a couple good games in their schedule. They got Michigan at number 7, Iowa at number 14 that they played. Only put up 21 points and 3 respectively there. But in general, barring a few teams that they've just blown out, they're pretty standard. Hey, we're going to score 20 to 30 on you, and that's about it. Or if they're playing a tougher defensive team, way down low. So we'll see. You can have the over. It's a smart play if you're looking at statistics of what occurs most often. The over is definitely the wise choice there.
Yeah, I also just think Chris Reynolds just won Conference USA Player of the Week. He's got a little swagger on him. I think other players on the team might want that honor. I think Chris has a nice game. Obviously, Benny crushes it. But I'm going to skip all the way to the player to watch out for on the offensive side for me. And, man, I'm going to go with, this isn't really a reach, Victor Tucker.
At least you prefaced it with not being a reach.
He's got just under 500 yards receiving for the season, 4 TDs. I think he gets another 2 in this game and improves by over 25%. So I see a 125 yards receiving plus for Victor Tucker with 2 touchdowns in the end zone. I think it's a really nice game, throwing the rock and him getting some of those touches.
So that'll be his 4th 100-yard game of the season. That's a pretty impressive stat if he's able to get there.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I also feel good about Benny LeMay with 150 yards all-purpose.
Well, you're just going to take the whole offensive team here? You want to just keep throwing out? Everybody's going to have a huge game?
I really like Chris Retton.
Hey, at least you're not picking Middle Tennessee players this week. I like that.
Hey, I was right about those guys, though. I'm just saying.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow up last week on my Chris Reynolds pick and give credit where credit's due. I think Chris on social media earlier this week basically said as much as what I'm about to say. The offensive line really allowed him to do what he was able to do and gave him time to pass and gave him the lanes to scramble and run. So I'm going to pick the offensive line here. I think Cameron Clark, Dominique Taylor, Jalen Fisher, Jalen Allen, Dimitri Emmanuel are going to hold it down up front, give us the time we need, create the holes for Benny to run through, and really show us a good sound game like they did last week, which is a lot of the reason why when offensive players put up big numbers, it all starts up front.
Can't agree with you more. And I hope we see a similar game plan from Coach where it's an even distribution no matter what the score is, whether we're winning or losing. More specifically, if we're losing, where we keep handing the ball off to Benny and letting the offensive line go on the attack rather than the defensive to make the other team think of what are they going to do? I don't know.
Interesting too, in our post-game wrap-up, we mentioned that we expected to see Charlotte climb back up the Conference USA ranks for the game they put up in terms of stats, and they have for sure. So Benny's first in all-purpose yards per game, rushing yards total, second in rushing yards per game, total TDs, and second in rushing TDs as well. So unbelievable season continuing for him. Every time we think he's going to do it, he does, and then some. And we've been talking over the past few episodes about his 3,000-yard career mark. He's now 28 yards shy of that, so that should be all but a guarantee for him to get this week.
That's exciting. I'm glad that's going to happen at home, which is really cool.
Yeah, that'll be a nice little cap to a career, and that still has plenty of room to grow, but a really big milestone to get to.
For sure. So, Sean, we talked a lot about the offense, and we didn't really give the defense a lot of love. Who is your defensive player to watch out for this week?
I think it still all starts up front. You hear tons of people talk about this, so it's no secret that controlling the line of scrimmage is where games are won and lost. We saw a huge week out of the defensive line as well. So I'm going to take everybody who stands around the ball here and go with our defensive line is going to be the impact players of the game this week. I'm looking for Alex Highsmith and Marquise Watts to continue growing on their sacks. So Alex has 8.5, Marquise has 6.5 sacks. I think it's going to be huge. Alex is currently ninth in FBS for sacks. I'm looking for him to get in top 5, and each of them I think are going to have a sack and a half plus.
Wow, we're really going out there.
I know.
Take the whole defensive line, really giving me some options.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, let me give some love to the guys up the middle, our tackles, Brian Wallace and Timmy Horn, starting this week. It all starts when you can push in the middle. That allows the edge defenders to run some stunts, get off the edge, and get around to the quarterback. But the middle guys play just as big a role, especially when you're talking about plugging up holes for runs. So if I'm going to take the whole line, I'm going to be fair, call out the whole line and say, let's go get it this week.
Wow. All right. Well, with that, I guess I will take the entire secondary. Someone's going to do something awesome. No, I really want to take kind of some of those seniors that don't necessarily get the love, like Henry Segura, Jeff Gimmel. I think one of the two of them or both of them are gonna have a real nice game this week. Maybe get a turnover, whether it's a forced fumble, a pick, lots of tackles. I think those are going to be the names you're going to be hearing in the stadium a lot.
Classic me, I'm going to throw out a cool statistic for the guys you pick here. Jeff needs 5 tackles to tie the career record, which was set by Carrington King, 267 career tackles. So that could be another nice little milestone to become the leading tackler in Charlotte history this week.
Thanks for the cheap plug. I appreciate the healthy stat. And yes, I predict that's going to happen for sure. 8 tackles for Jeff.
He had 12 versus North Texas, so it's not undoable.
Yeah. Hopefully it's only 8, though, because he had 12 against North Texas because they put up 38 points.
Yeah. That's fair.
Lots of possessions, lots of drives.
Very fair.
So anyway, to recap, you've got the whole defensive line. I've got 2 seniors. I've got the whole offense.
These are some really marquee key player picks.
Yeah. And I've got the over with a Charlotte W. You've got the under with the Charlotte W, which is still almost like an over because the over-under is 65 for this game. Either way, we're back on the same page. We're picking the 49ers at home. Second to last game of the season at home. Try to come out this Saturday. Weather should be pretty good, actually, too. Football weather.
Let's hope so.
Not raining or anything, but a little bit of a breeze. Light jacket, maybe. And
you just jinxed us into, like, a torrential downpour during the game. So thank you for that. And that would be very fitting. It is we've never beat Middle Tennessee. They've always had our number. I think the first time we ever matched up against them, it was just a dramatic, like, 80-point blowout. It was painful to watch. This is a different era for us. I'm looking for an exciting first win over a team who's had our number all 4 times we've met them.
I like it. I don't disagree. And I'm really hoping to look ahead. I'm hoping we get this W, move to 4-5, and then the rest of the schedule looks somewhat doable with 2 road games and 1 more home game. Try to finish the season strong and get after it with a better record than last year and bowl eligibility.
Yeah, it's a nice position to be. I mean, our backs are still up against the wall every week. I mean, we've got to basically run the table to even be in bowl eligibility contention. But one of the big pluses is our tougher games are at home, which gives you a little increase in ability to beat somebody when you're at home. You've got the home crowd. You're not having to deal with a bunch of crowd noise, things like that. And then our easier games are away. So if there were a schedule to allow us to do that, this is one of those that gives us the best opportunities. But week by week, we're going to see what happens, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to get too much into the rest of the season preview, but you're right. Honestly, our schedule's been a little top heavy, and it's kind of gotten a little bit easier as we've gone through the season. Middle Tennessee and North Texas were kind of in the middle of the pack, sort of like us. And our last two home games, UTEP and Old Dominion, are the two worst teams in the conference. They both have one win this season, 1-7.
You mean away
each.
games?
Away games, I'm sorry. Our one home game, you're right, remaining after this is Marshall, who's 5-3. We'll see how they continue because we do have a little bye in between the UTEP road game and back at home against Marshall. That will be the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So put that on your calendars too, the last home game, senior day, all that fun stuff. And the Niners will probably need you, especially if we can win this game against Middle Tennessee and then show up at UTEP. We could be 5-5 coming home. All we got to do is win the last one, and we're bowl eligible. So very exciting stuff here. Hoping to stay on the positive. You got to experience emo Scott last week, and I'm glad the 49ers got me out of that phase of my life.
He's back excited, baby.
Yeah, I'm back, baby. Great. Well, go out to the game. We hope you enjoy it. And remember always to follow us on social media and everything, and wear green.
And go Niners.